Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go.
Traders, hello. This is Rev Wood by SageFT online. I am the founder, creator, and trader over at SageFT.com and the live trading desk on all of our socials, streaming live every single Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until the pockets are full. What we're going to do is we're going to do the review and Rev-Up for June 1st of 2025, taking a look at this wide angle first as we do the review. Let's look at the daily chart. The one thing that I want to point out is this right here. This box is what I call my interpretation of the breaker block. Okay, it's the lower neckline, shoulder line in the head and shoulders formation. Now, the reason that this one is so unique is if we go like this, watch this. Let me see if this works here. I want you to watch 1, 2, 3. Notice how they look here from this one. Watch this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add I'm going to put the SPX in here, which is the actual index. Okay, now watch this. This is really important. This is setting up what we're talking about. What did we do last week? How does it all come through? Okay, so now remember that first high was here on the S&P futures. Remember the second high was just a little bit lower. And do you remember the third high was not as high as the first one? Okay, now watch this. Here it comes. This is where all this starts to play out like Huggy Bear told us. Okay, now, see the difference? Ah, good. So the slide goes through, right? So now we've set it up. Let's go back. So that's why this is so important. So now let's go back to last week. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, whatever, however we want to call it, blah, blah, blah. Friday in between all that, and we have a huge rally, okay, because we close outside of this breaker block, right? So now Tuesday, they buy it back in because they believe that it is this value with some sort of China, something, right? We get tariff news. And so I want everyone to pay attention to these levels as we go into the lower time frames. Okay, and the lower level will be 58.58. The higher level will be 59.68. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Okay, now I'm gonna put my hands behind my back and I'm gonna stand here like the university professor. I'm kidding. And we want to just go back and we want to look at, does anything pop out to you? Okay, remember the big box is a breaker block. And so inside of this breaker block there is something magical. Okay, it's mythical, magical. And it's called a unicorn, right? Now, in this unicorn, you can see that it was pierced here, and they rode the unicorn into the clouds. Okay, so that's how we played the first part of the week, up, right? And then let's confirm, because we have the lower, the 200 simple down here, back into position 1. So everything past here is up. Now, we start to come down, so then everything below that big, huge red bar going through the 8, turning the 8 down, everything below that is, I'm not going to say shorting, but I will say not going long and looking for a sell side activity on the smaller time frames, right? So if we're thinking about it that way, Sunday night, coming in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Thursday, and then Friday, and then at the end of the Friday session, we got a huge rally, relief rally. If you ask me, and the way that we played it was window dressing. All right, so now we know that we were in first position. We do know that we're above the 200 simple on the 4-hour chart, so we have to be careful taking shorts, right? So now if we just go to the 15-minute chart, which is actually where I live, this is where I trade. Even though you guys see, when you see me on the stream, you see me trading, entering on a 2-minute chart. That's correct. That's what I do. This is a 2-minute chart. Sorry about that. I was wondering why it was taking so long to get through it. Okay, so what I do is I enter on the 2-minute chart, but I look for patterns on the 15-minute chart, right? So what I mean by that is if we go back, I can just go to the 27th, okay, and then 26th. This is Sunday night, right? And so then here's Monday. It looks like it's going to flush, right? But what we're looking for is, because we know that we're above the 200 on the 4-hour chart, we're going to fractal to a lower time frame, right? And remember, fractal is not just if it's the 4-hour, you look at the 2-hour, the 1 hour, the 45-minute. The fractal means that if you see it on the 15-minute and you go down to the 2-minute, you also have to see it on the 15-minute from the 2-minute. A fractal goes both ways. If you zoom in on something and it fractals, okay, you have to be able to zoom out and it fractals out, not just fractals in, right? Okay, that's something, and you can Google it to check it, because I Googled it to check it, just to confirm, okay, just to confirm for you guys. Don't take my word for it. Google it, right? So here's the fair value gap on the 4-hour chart. Look at this. Here's the fair value gap on the 4-hour chart. On the 15-minute chart, fractal of the 4-hour. Perfect. Bing, bing, bing. So that anytime it goes into position 1, so now let's do another blue line. Boom. So then let's look at, and let's just use this as an example. Okay, any point in time, it doesn't matter. Okay, this would be the 27th of May at 1:45 a.m. Oh, nobody's trading there. That's actually not true. We have clients in Australia, South Africa, Africa, and so on. They're up. Okay, it's the morning time, right? So if we go on the 2-minute chart, May 27th at 1:45 a.m., let's do that. Let's just adventure over that, right? Let's just take a random slice of where none of us were trading. That's a great idea. Good. That way it's an untampered sample. What do we say? 1:45 a.m. 1:45 a.m. the 27th. Okay. Oh my goodness. Do you see the fractal? Okay. Dramatic pause over. Let's go. Now that we know what we're looking for on the 15-minute chart, we want to make sure that the 2-minute chart is showing us exactly what we need as well. So with that being said, we know that this is roughly after the 1:45 a.m. period. And so if we were to just wait, now folks, I'm going to show you a little secret because you're still watching the video. In the comments of this video, wherever you're watching it, I want you to type secret, okay? Thank you. Everybody says, how do we know when to start buying after it goes down? How do we know when to start selling when it goes up? Watch. You wait for something like this. Okay, that's the first thing you're watching. Sorry about that. It's doing its little connect the thing. All right, so now we got this going on. So what is this? This would be an inverted head and shoulders. Okay, so now remember, inverted head and shoulders only work about 63% of the time in context, right? So how do we know when it's going to work, right? Because look, this one failed. Death, right? Well, first of all, it has to be in context. Larger time frames, that's what we're doing. Okay, watch. So if it's not clear to you here, and that's not derogatory, that's just you don't have enough data that supports you justifying being comfortable placing executions there, because it's just the way that the process works, right? What I want you to do is I want you to start watching for, okay, I see it, okay, I see it. Now remember the breaker block on the daily and the 4-hour. Remember? Breaker block, daily, breaker block. Watch this. So if I want to make sure you guys see this correctly. If it's this part of the head and shoulders, okay, it would be no different than what you're seeing right here. Watch this. I'm showing you guys a 17-hour lecture from ICT. I'm just explaining it to you very quickly. Watch this. He's going to say a whole bunch of weird nonsense. We're just going to talk about it like this, right? Here it is right here. You could use this right here. Shkaboom. Okay, now, so then notice, if this is the breaker block, all you want to do is you want to find break, test, flip. Okay. If that's not enough for you, wait, there's more. Okay, remember, this is context, meaning the window dressing, meaning they were buying from the window. They were just buying whatever was in the store. Okay, they were window shopping, window dressing, making their store look really good for when their prospectus had to come out, right, over the next few days through the Friday, right? So how did they play it, right? So if we look at it that way, that's the context. What we want to do is every time it goes into position 1 on the 2-minute, because it went in to position 1 on the 15-minute and then position 1 on the 4-hour. So we fractal down and then we realize we fractal up. Okay. After we've recognized that it's an inverted head and shoulders, we're breaking the breaker block, change of structure, change of character, chotch, chooch, chach, chonch, whatever you want to call it. You are now in the long only zone after we break. Okay, so then any way that you have your patterns, you're taking them. All right, so now that's what we did all week long. Okay, so now what can we look for next week? Let's take a look at the larger time frames. Oh, good. Okay, this one's kind of easy, right? First thing we have to do before we look at what we think price action can do, this week we have to look at news, right? So we just did the review. Now let's do the Rev-Up. Let's fire up. Let's get going. Here we go. First thing I want to show you is Monday morning. We start right off the old bat with manufacturing and ISM PMI. But wait, there's more. Okay, so if we scroll down, obviously jolts. Okay, which it actually does move the market, believe it or not. Now but wait, there's more. Okay, Wednesday ADP non-farm employment change. Okay, 10 a.m. ISM service PMI. Okay, come on now, hurry up and wait. It gets better. Rev, get to the good stuff. I'm so glad you said that. Okay, good. Friday, non-farm payroll. Okay, non-farm payroll, 8:30 a.m. So it's going to be a hurry up and wait. But we're going to use the same patterns that I just showed you in secret time. Okay. Type in secret in the comments if you watched it, right? And it can do 3 things. It can do 2 things. It can go sideways or it can pick a direction. On low volume while it's waiting for something, okay? Anything can happen because it's the lack of liquidity that moves it. Now, throw in some Trump tape bombs, and we have a great week ahead of us. What we're going to do is we're just going to recognize that we could really trend. Now, why could we really trend? We'll look at it in just a second. I'm going to show you on the chart why I think. Which way are we going to trend? We're going to find out, right? That's not like a just wait, hurry up. Okay, so now let's dive into that because we know that we have to wait until Friday before the big news. Now, go back to the breaker block, okay? And I want to remind you, go back to the breaker block. I'm being dramatic. And where did we go on the daily chart and then the 4-hour chart? We went to the bottom of the breaker block, tested this order block, right? Successful test, and we close in Dragonfly Doji, or people call this a pin bar if it was to clear a bottom. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Look at how beautiful that is. Okay, so now the expectation is they're going to take it back into position 1 on the 4-hour chart. So that's the first expectation. So if they're going to take it back to position 1 on the 4-hour chart, because the 20 is below the 200 and everything curves back upwards. We have tons of videos on the YouTube channel about position 1 and the KISS chart. Feel free to browse. Now, how would we play this? Well, it's going to do one or the other this week. Okay, we're either going here, 57.43, or we're going to smash 59.82. It's one or the other. Okay, it's time, right? That's the 2 options. And the third option is it can just go sideways and the market makers win and we stay inside of this order block, whatever we want to call it. And it just kind of tests boundaries and draws stops on both sides. Okay, so now that is the 4-hour chart. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. Let's see if there's anything. So what we want to do, and again, we're just going to wait for it to go into position 1, figure out where the path of least resistance is, and we're going to execute. Okay, if it's narrow range, we're going to trade accordingly. If it's trending, we're going to trade accordingly. It's going to be a hurry up and wait type situation, unless these crazy tape bombs, like the one that came out Friday after the futures closed, of raising steel price tariffs 50%, not 25%. Okay. When this video comes out, or just a little bit before this video comes out, the Globex session is going to open. There could be trades then. Be very, very careful and understand that if the market is down 100 on Sunday night, it doesn't mean it's going to remain down on Monday morning. That's going to do it for me. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. It's time to prepare. It's time to lock in. It's time to get in the mindset of winning, remaining in the flow state. Okay. And when you find yourself jumping out of the flow state, what I want you to do is I want you to take a step back, take a walk, go touch grass. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning on all of our social media assets. Good night, everybody. Smash that like button. Thanks.